My name is Aimee Stubbs. I've been working here at college for a while now. Test anxiety. What happens to the brain during stress? Well, that functioning area in the front becomes disengaged and you get confused. The subcortical fight or flight areas are engaged, and this has panic, it has frustration. People blank out or forget. So what do you have to start doing? Well, how do you prevent it first? Memorization. Everybody remembers in different ways. So basically, memories are trained. Natural, curious people realize that there's no such thing as useless information. And what they do, when everything attracts their notice, they become scatterbrains. And then some people's memories are like black holes. The fact is never regained. You know, they look at it, they blank, they never remember. But they've remembered enough to get through school, maybe K-12 when it's input-output. But then when you get to college and they want that abstract reasoning to kick in, it's not going to happen. Okay, so how do we counteract this? You have to train it, just like you would be when you were recording something. The scatterbrain must learn to concentrate, and the black hole has to learn those methods of retrieval. Repetition, visual or auditory cues. You just talked about how you learn. Those visual people, you're going to find visual ways to get that information. Auditory cues, whether you turn it into, when I taught English years ago at the high school, we used to come up with raps or songs using that information. How do you learn? You have to think about how do you learn? What helps you focus and what helps you relax? For some people, it's smells. For some people, something's calming to you. Some people, it's lavender. Some people, it's mint. In college, you review and you preview. So what you would do is you have to make yourself. Don't ever go home saying, oh, I don't have an assignment. Because to get into your long-term memory, it's like layers of an onion. Okay? You have to get it into, you can get it into your short-term memory, but then it has to go into your long-term memory. So you have to review what you did that day, preview what you're going to be doing the next day. How to memorize. Write each things out 5 times. Look at your paper if you can't write out everything. After an hour, see if you can recall that thing from memory. Visual organizers. There is this website, educase.com, Graphic Organize. This can help you with your visual organization. But these visual organizers are going to really help you. So that every time you write something, you read the original phrase or definition, you spell out the proper letter, and then you read it to check your spelling as you write. You've probably heard of Holmes. Those are all the Great Lakes. If you can remember Holmes, that's called the first letter mnemonic. If you were to say just out of the blue, who can tell me all the Great Lakes? Probably a lot of you couldn't. But if you remember that Holmes, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior, that gives you a little cue to help you remember all of those Great Lakes. The next one, using textbooks. Many times the list, when possible, you can actually ask the teacher. They will introduce chapters and they'll have it online. And they'll have questions already online, and a lot of teachers take those questions that they have online and they'll use those for their tests. And then once you've prepared, you use those memory triggers. You've calmed yourself. You think about the relaxation piece. You think about the big picture, the holistic picture of how am I going to calm myself down? How am I going to prepare? And when you're actually taking the test, you take deep breaths, you stretch. When your brain gets clogged up, that means you're not getting enough oxygen. You drink lots of water. Mints help. Sometimes people say dark chocolate. But you stretch out your body, tense it up, let it go. Do that like 10 times. And during the test, you could rub your temples. You can take your deep breaths. Get as much oxygen to your brain. That's going to help keep that brain going and not that fight or flight where you're going to get so frustrated and it just shuts down. Okay? If all of that still, you can't get those answers, use those ace guessing techniques. That means avoid absolutes. Okay? Always and never. Because many things aren't absolute. Okay? So if you absolutely have to guess, you avoid the always and nevers. You eliminate similar choices. Some people are going to put, 12 inches and a foot. They're going to have the similar choices, and they're going to have the same answers. They're both wrong. And unless it says both A and B or A and C, then you can cross those out automatically. And then you choose the longest, most difficult answers, because sometimes instructors are not going to put a lot of effort into an answer unless it's the correct one. And then the last one, remember, you need to prepare yourself, you eat that nutritious breakfast, you need positive self-talk, use humor, and then people are always there to help. You have your learning centers, your tutoring commons, smart thinking, you have SSS, you have disability resources, you have all kinds of different workshops going on all the time. And they're even coming up with all those online learning resources. And if you haven't been on that website, look on there. They have some amazing learning tools on there. The library online, they have all those, like a lot of those Venn diagrams and everything. They have the ebook formats of everything. There are so many tools on there that people have no clue exist. And so the support services here are phenomenal, because trust me, I've been to workshops all over the nation, and really we have so much in place for students here to help you succeed. And then asking your instructor, and most instructors put in time in the Learning Commons. So asking them for extra time, asking them for the extra help, or going to someone that might be able to help you communicate if you find that you struggle in that area with communicating with your students. Okay? You're very welcome.
All right. You guys are awesome. Remember, know yourself, find out what works for you, and get help when needed.